Hey, welcome to Game Layer, where we explore the science of play and the quest of learning. I am your host, David Kolmer. Theme music by Caleb Willits. Welcome down to Game Layer.
I play piano.
I play chess.
I play everything.
I play games of my own invention.
I'd like to move to the domain of play.
My guest today is named Jazmin Webster. Jazmin is someone that I actually know personally. Jazmin got me started in some ways on this gamification journey, or she really helped me move it forward. In St. Louis, where I live, there is a local chapter of ATD, that's the Association for Talent Development. Now, Jazmin is the president of this association, and I went to a certification. It was through Sententia Gamification, and that was hosted by Jonathan Peters, PhD. Jazmin and I were both attendees in that session, and that's where we actually met. And we both, I think, realized that, that's a nice person. We both realized that we're both nice people. And we moved on with our lives. And then later in that same year, this was in 2024, I went to the national conference in New Orleans. And since Jazmin Webster is the president of the ATD chapter in St. Louis, she went also. And there was a special event in front of this really nice club. They had like live jazz music and really nice hors d'oeuvres and art and all the things. So I'm waiting in line, waiting for the bouncer to let me in. And Jazmin's just sitting up there on the porch. She's like, "Oh, hey, you." And I was like, "Yeah, I know you." And she's like, "I know you." And I was standing there with my boss, like waiting in line. And then we just kind of kept going. And we got into the party, and then I ran into her again on the rooftop. I was like, "I know you from ATD, aren't you?" "Yeah, the gamification thing." So it all kind of came together then. It really helped me get on the gamification line because I had some other players in my arena that were in my corner or supported me or helping me press play on all of this. So now, full circle, Jazmin said, "Can I be on the show now that you're having a show on gamification?" I said, "I would love that." And we had been talking a little bit about playing cards. She had this interest in playing cards. And I was like, "Okay, I like playing cards too." And she said, No. I'm talking about cards for reading the future or using cards to read your fortune." And I said, "Oh yeah, I've done that." So I have a friend named Karen. When I was out in Thailand, she's from South Africa. She read my coffee cup. There's an old, I believe it's a Turkish mysticism where you get really strong coffee. And it's probably the fact that you just drank so much coffee that you're like, "Yeah, I'll believe anything you say." It's not true. You get like a cup of coffee like this big. I'm holding my hand up. It's like maybe 2 or 3 ounces, fluid ounces at the most. And you fill that with ground up coffee that's like a powder. And you fill that with hot water then, and that's how you make the coffee. And then you drink it, and I'm sure you're consuming a lot of the powdered coffee. And when you're done, you turn the cup upside down on its saucer, and a lot of the coffee drips out. But then when you turn it back over, there's a line of the coffee. And that line you can read your fortune from. And my friend Karen had learned how to do this from a sorcerer. So she did that for me. And it's really kind of my first experience with having your future read or your fortune read. And I think this is really interesting. Number one, because you're kind of gamifying our perception. My perception of where I'm at in life and where I want to be. What are the players? And then also, keep looking over here at this book. So this is the book that Jazmin has shared with me. And I've paged through it. I've looked through it. And it all makes sense. I think what surprises me is this has a lot less to do with sorcerers and witches and a lot more to do with just basic spiritual thought. Any concepts of Buddhism and Christianity that I've had. So I'm like, oh, well, this is more in a line maybe with my worldview than I even thought. Even though I'm also cool with the concepts of fortune telling. What's cool about this is we are using a standard deck of playing cards, and I'm going to talk to Jazmin a little bit about that in the show. I have 2 decks of cards. One of the decks has historical relevance. It has a profile of St. Louis City on it, and I have had it a long time. It's been in the family a long time. And when I moved to Thailand to teach English for 7 years, I brought that deck of cards with me. It's like, "Oh, you want to see St. Louis? I have it right here on this deck of cards." So they traveled all the way to the other side of the world with me, and then they came back. So from my perspective, those specific playing cards have a history. And then another deck that I have, which I'm going to present both of these decks to Jazmin, and she can tell me how we're going to use them, is I was at the Dollar Tree right after talking to Brett Wardle. He's a TED Talk speaker. He presented at the GamiCon this year, 2025, and he's going to be on the show. And I listened to him speak a few times, and I picked up on this trend that he loves the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So do I. We're brothers because of that. So when I was in the Dollar Tree, it should be called the $1.25 tree. I'm going to do some art around that. That'll be on the Substack. If you go to gamelayer.fm, you'll find that. Anyway, I bought the pack of cards at the Dollar Tree that have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on them. I paid $1.25. I want to use them for this fortune reading, and then when I'm done, I'm going to mail them to Brett so he has them. Without further ado, I present the Sensei, the Sorceress, Jazmin Webster. And I am here in my studio with Jazmin Webster. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, David.
Sure.
So, my name's Jazmin. I have worked in the training and learning and development industry now for 20 years. And, over the past 20 years, I've really focused a lot on personal development. And one way that I've explored personal development is through this science of cardology.
Okay.
So, and it's definitely something that, can help you learn more about yourself, how you communicate with others, and also about your personal relationships.
Hey, Dave here. Does it bother you that Jazmin calls this a science of cardology? It bothers me a little bit, but at the same time, I'm willing to roll with it. Do I even believe in cardology? And does that matter? Not right now. It doesn't matter if I believe in this or not, because that is not the point. What is the point? The point is, if you want to learn something, you need to be open to experiences that you do not understand. Just because it bothers me that this is based off of my birthday and how irrelevant that is to me and my worldview has nothing to do with any of this. The point of this entire process is that if we want to learn, we need to remain open to new experiences, open to the realm of play. If we just start right out of the gate saying, I don't understand this, I'm going to shut the door, then we shut the door on the wider worldview and ultimately connections with other human beings. So I implore you, enter the state of play. Listen to others, even if it's something you don't understand, something you think you will never understand. Give it a shot. See where it leads you. I hope it brings you down to the game layer. All right. Thanks. Back to the show. All right.
Tapping into your professional relationships, not just
Sure.
personal relationships.
Yeah. And that's what we're doing today. Go out of my way to talk about, we're developing this close-knit group, a web of people, and you were the catalyst that got this all going. So I could almost peg the whole game layer show on you as a pretty big part of the creation of this.
Wow.
So thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And I would say it's all in the cards,
Hey, there you go. Speaking of the cards, let's see what we have here. Could you introduce what we have in front of us here?
Absolutely. So what we're looking at right now is called the spiritual spread of the cards. And I came to know about the cards through a friend of mine and also mentor, Fatima Dantes, who founded an organization called Spade University. And through her company, through her organization, I've started to explore more about the meanings of the cards and how they relate to you. Now, I will start off by saying that each person has a playing card that is associated with them because of their birth date. So, because I know what your birth date is, I know what card is associated with you for the day of your birth.
Wow.
Okay? So there is a little bit more that goes into identifying your personality card, which is the one that most individuals might see or perceive you to be out in the real world. So this spread of cards right now is in the spiritual order, or the most perfect order when we think about the numbers, when we think about order of being. And I would start off by saying that these cards each come with a solar value. So from 1 to 52. So you can take any deck of playing cards and set up this spread, and then you could locate your card. Okay. So knowing that the Ace of Hearts is the first card in the deck, being that represents the number 1. The card that ends the deck is the 52 card, which is the King of Spades. So we're going to start off kind of talking a little bit about what we have arranged right here.
Okay.
Okay. So to start off with, the top row is called the crown line. So the crown line has a significance because when you think about, royalty, when you think about the position of someone being in a place of power or respect,
Okay.
the crown line is the highest line.
Okay.
Okay. And then we go to the next line, and this is where we have to tap into some astrology.
Okay.
And each row is represented, and each column, each row and column are significant, and they align with the planetary order.
Okay.
So Mercury
Okay.
row, this is the Venus row,
Uh-huh.
this is the Mars row,
Okay.
this is the Jupiter row,
Wow.
Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune.
Okay.
And the same order would follow if we were to go vertically, but starting at the right side. So this is the Mercury row. This is the Venus row. This is the Mars. This is the Jupiter. This is the Saturn. This is the Neptune. And this is the Uranus, and this is the Neptune.
And then I have a question. Pluto is a dwarf planet, right? And so you made me think of Pluto, but it's really recent that we discovered that Pluto is a dwarf planet.
Yes.
So when this all came together, had they not and maybe discovered Pluto yet? Or
Well, Pluto actually is incorporated in here. I didn't mention it in the order here,
Okay.
but Pluto is a relationship that we can talk about. Pluto is the planet of transformation in our card system. So
okay.
you can think about Pluto because of how far and how distant it is away from the sun. The impact that it could potentially have, it can be transformative because how much pull how much energy it takes to have Pluto really orbit the sun.
Okay.
So Pluto
Interesting.
is involved with this card system, but you will not see it here laid out in the columns and the rows, but we will talk about Pluto.
perfect.
Yes, thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Now that we talked about kind of the layout, and I also mentioned that each card has its own solar value or a number, we also have to think about how the planetary energies connect with the cards. If the Ace of Hearts is here and it's in the Mercury row and in the Mercury column, this would give us the energy of communication. Mercury is the planet of communication.
Okay.
So you can tie in some of the astrological references to the planets when we think about these card systems.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. So knowing that this is the perfect order or the heavenly order or the spiritual order, this is not necessarily where we find ourselves every day in the real world. So there is another spread called the life spread or the mundane spread, depending on who you talk to. And that will give you your placement in the real world and how you connect to cards that are beside you, to your left or to your right.
So I was thinking reality.
Yes.
It's kind of like reality.
The reality. Exactly.
spread.
The reality.
Okay.
So I have to ask a question. Are
Yes.
you okay with me bringing up your card to the front?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
All right. So based on your birth date, your card is the Six of Diamonds.
Wow.
So here is your giant Six of Diamonds I have right here for you.
Awesome.
So you know that is your card.
I'm going to take this home with me.
Yes, you
Even though
should.
I'm already in my basement.
Yes.
Awesome.
So your six of diamonds is your card. And so this card, when we think about where it is placed in the spiritual spread, this card is in the middle row.
Okay.
The middle column. This middle column is the Jupiter column.
Jupiter.
Yes. And then it intersects with this row, which is the Saturn row. So what we know about Jupiter, when you think about Jupiter in the sky, what comes to mind?
I think it's pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's close to us.
Yeah. It's not that far from the Earth. So.
Right. And then Saturn has the ring.
Yes.
I mean, that's an easy one. That's very low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
About my astrological knowledge.
Yes. And I am completely a novice here. Just know that I have studied with a couple people that are really more experts than I am.
That's fine.
And I'm definitely sharing this knowledge just to, of course, have a conversation with you and play a game with the cards.
And we're gaming life. Yeah, I love it.
We are gaming life.
Yeah.
So the Six of Diamonds, because
Okay.
it sits with Jupiter.
Okay.
Jupiter, you said it's big, right?
It's the first thing that came to mind.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
the planet of expansion and growth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it aligns with kind of what we know about the planet when you think about its visual appearance, right?
Okay.
So the Six of Diamonds sits in a place of expansion and growth. And at the same
Interesting.
time, you sit in a row, Saturn. Saturn, if you you think about Saturn and you think about a circle and you think about the rings,
Okay.
the rings are continuous,
Infinite.
and you might have lessons to learn. And when you think
Yeah.
about lessons, you might want to think about karma.
Okay.
So you think about the Saturn, the rings, karma, the return. You're going to learn a lot of lessons.
Yeah.
If you have any cards that fall in a Saturn position.
Maybe
okay?
that's why I'm in learning and development.
Could be. There it is. You're always learning, right?
I think so.
Always learning.
Yeah.
So we have a card, the Six of Diamonds,
Okay.
which is in the Jupiter column and in the Saturn row.
Okay.
So you have some pretty big life lessons ahead of you, which is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love it.
Now, this system also ties into numerology. I kind of hinted at that when I said each card has its own value. So thinking about the number 6, it's really 2 sets of 3, right?
Sure.
So when we have the number 3, 3 is a 2 and a 1.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Okay. So 3s tend to be decision makers. When you have a 3 in your hand of cards, typically it means that you could get involved with making decisions.
Okay.
Okay. And because you have 2 3s, you may be relied on to apply those lessons that you're learning to make very critical decisions. And that could be for you, your friends, family. People might consult you at times for decisions.
Okay.
And when it comes to the 6, the shape of the 6, some like to point out that the shape of the 6 has an opening at the top, right?
Sure.
So this means that energy can flow in. Okay. So this also means that you have things that are coming in, you have expansion, you have lessons that are coming in for you to learn.
Okay.
So that 6 could be very indicative of that. Okay. So we can explore more about the 6 of Diamonds as we talk through the life spread, or what's the reality. So we're going to do some shuffling of the card deck here in a minute and talk more about what's the reality.
Awesome. Great. So we're going to take a pause here. We can maybe have a little bit of a musical interlude while Jazmin gets that set up. Is that correct?
That sounds great.
Awesome. All right. So while she does that, I actually have the can here. The can is a musical instrument that I purchased well, I was in Thailand, but I had to go to Laos to get one of these that was actually going to be suitable for playing for music. So while we're on the topic of being out of our comfort zone, I picked up this musical instrument because I heard people playing them in Thailand, where I was living. I lived there for 7 years. And as I went to go purchase them in Thailand, I played them. But when I traveled into Laos, I played a few of them. This is one that I played that I thought, this is my scale in a way, that found my chord, if you will. And then I took it back to Thailand with me, and this would have been in 2006. And I sat in the upper level of my condo, or it was a townhouse, I think, and just played this thing. And I had a little multi-track recorder. It was actually what are those things called? Mini discs, I guess? They were digital, and I had a little condenser mic. And I would just play for hours and then listen to what I played. So what do we have here now?
All right. Now we have come back from the spiritual world. We have come back to the real world.
Okay.
And now that we're in the real world, things are not in perfect order.
I see that. It's a little bit random even.
It's not
It's
exactly
not random, but to an untrained eye such as mine,
yes.
relatively
yes,
random.
Exactly. And so what you're seeing here is the real world, or the mundane world as we experience it here on Earth.
I love it.
And if we have to find where you are now, your Six of Diamonds has moved. So you're no longer in the
Saturn and Jupiter.
So
is that where I belong, maybe?
Ooh, that's a really good question. That is where your soul is. Your soul is in the Saturn and Jupiter position.
Okay. So that's the spiritual realm?
Yes.
Am I saying that right?
Yes.
I
that's
love
the
this.
spiritual realm.
Interesting.
Yes, but you here on Earth,
Okay.
you're in a little bit of a different position. So this is how you're going to experience
Tell
life.
me about it.
In reality.
It's called hitting 40. Yeah. All right.
So let's see. You actually have some similar planetary influences. If we look at the current spread, so let's count down again. So we're up here. It's Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter. Whoop whoop.
Still in Jupiter.
Still in Jupiter. Still in Jupiter.
Okay, I like that.
And now let's see what column you would be in. So if we're starting from right to left, then this would be the Mercury column. So you're in the Mercury Jupiter position.
Pardon me. This just a little bit. Hopefully we can cut that up. Okay, cool.
All right. So you are in the Mercury Jupiter position.
Awesome.
And that would mean to me, since Mercury is the planet of communication, expansive communication. Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
And look at what you're doing right now. You're doing a podcast.
I'm doing a podcast about something I don't know.
Expansive communication.
Expansive communication. I love that. And I studied theater. I've been a teacher. I've been a training facilitator. And now I'm an instructional designer to share my experience.
Look, Mercury all over the place.
Awesome. I see it. Awesome.
Yes. So one other thing I would add about these cards, and we kind of had a conversation about why I wanted to use these cards. And the reason I wanted to use these cards is because we have a bicycle playing deck, and the bicycle playing deck is created so that the spades and clubs are black cards, and the hearts and the diamonds are red cards. So let's pause and do a little numerology break. Okay.
I love that.
So we've got 52 cards, right?
Okay.
52 weeks in a year.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right. We have 4 different suits. We've got the
4
hearts.
seasons.
Yes.
Awesome.
There we go. And what else comes in 4s?
You put me on the spot and I drew a blank. I'm trying to think.
Avatar. Think Avatar.
Avatar.
What were his 4 things? He had when you have the Avatar show, you've got.
You mean the movie, right?
Yeah, Avatar. Yeah. The movie or the show. So it's okay.
It's not coming to me.
I was trying to give you some wind. That's one of them.
Oh, the elements.
The elements. There it is. There it is.
Yeah,
there it is.
4 elements.
There you go.
And then there's the 5th element, which is that really cute girl from the space age with the Egyptians.
Yes. From that great movie with Bruce Willis that I just...
Bruce Willis.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have the 4 elements. We've got 4 seasons. We also have 2... We have... When we think about the cards in terms of timing and age, the hearts are the youngest of the suits. So when we talked about in the spiritual spread how the Ace of Hearts is the number 1 card, it's because it's the youngest. It's where we start off at birth.
Okay.
You know, and when we talk about birth, we're not talking about birth in this lifetime.
Okay.
We have to go back to when our soul was born. So this brings you into the concept that our soul could be reborn and that we could have multiple lives that we've had over the centuries.
So you're making me think of the concept of reincarnation.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
So the very first time our soul was born and came into the world, it came in as an Ace of Hearts. And that's the number 1 card. And that's why the hearts are the youngest of the suits.
Okay.
The hearts, you can also equate them with 4 seasons. So here's the number 4 again. So we have 4 seasons in the year.
Okay.
The hearts represent the springtime.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Next suit that's up next.
That's young.
That's-
Sorry, that just clicked. It took me a second.
That's okay. So the next suit, we can think about them as the teenagers.
Okay.
The juveniles.
Yes.
And not to say that they're immature at all.
The spades?
Nope.
The clubs.
The clubs. Because they like to club.
Oh, I like it. I see
The
what you
clubs
did.
go clubbing, all right?
That's how you remember that.
That's how you
good.
remember that.
That's
the clubs
good.
go clubbing, and they club
All
in the
right.
summertime.
Yeah.
So we got the
Why
spring
not?
as the hearts. Then we talk about the clubs.
Summertime.
You know, summertime.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Cool.
So then we've got the clubs. Clubs are the teenagers, and they have already been through all the hearts. They feel like, oh, I've just championed this youth.
I'm in middle school. I'm an
middle
adult.
school, I'm ready. I'm ready to go and just learn and just do. Okay.
Yes.
So you got the clubs, and then we come to the fall. And the fall, we're starting to get that maturity. You know, we're not all the way to an adult yet. Absolutely, we're not all diamonds.
I had to mouth it out. I didn't want to say something wrong again.
No, you got it. It's
Okay,
the
cool.
diamonds. So the diamonds, they are that they just really reach that level of maturity.
Okay.
They've already been through the two suits. They've been through the spring and the summer, and now they're in the fall. Okay. And then the most mature suit of them all is the spades.
Yeah.
And the spades are very unique because they have the energy of all the suits within them.
Interesting.
So when we think about
The game spades?
the game spades.
I mean, the spades are the trump.
The spades are the trump cards. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. They have the powers and the energies of all the cards that came before. So by the
Interesting.
time you reach the king of spades, you have gone through every one of the 52 cards in your lifetime. If you are a birth card of the king of spades, then
You are
that
an old
means
soul?
You're an old soul.
Yeah.
You're an old soul.
I said that weird, but soul. I'll work
Yeah.
on that word.
Old soul. Absolutely. So, luck would have it that you are a six of diamonds.
Okay.
And that would mean that you've been here before.
Yeah, I've been here a while.
You've been here a while.
Yeah.
So you're into the sixes. So you're into the six of diamonds, which means that you've been through the hearts and the clubs. And now you're about midway through the diamonds. So you've learned some lessons. Now I'm going to pause and talk a little bit about the diamonds. The diamonds, we talked about the hearts being young, diamonds being more mature.
Okay.
Diamonds, even when you think about a diamond itself, what's one key word that comes to mind when you think about a diamond in general?
I mean, there's two things that popped into my head. The first thing is I always associate diamonds with skills for some reason. And that's part of my personal visual brand when I'm designing things. If I want to identify a skill, it's always a diamond. But also diamonds are very dense. They're not necessarily rare, but they're very valuable. And so value is where I was going with it.
But you value skill.
Skills are so valuable. That's how you market yourself in the human capital, right? The marketplace of humans, it's all about skills. Skills are valuable like diamonds.
There we go.
So it all comes together.
It does come together.
Okay.
And that's spoken true from a diamond because
There you go.
diamonds care about value. That's
Yeah, it's
like,
kind of rough down here, so I'm feeling like one of those diamonds in the rough.
that's okay. We're forming.
We're in St. Louis. Yeah, it's tough.
Oh my gosh, yes. So a diamond definitely has
Okay.
character.
Okay.
A diamond also has different facets.
Okay.
And also a diamond can be rough at times,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what your personality card is. If your diamond is really shining through strongly because, you know, the way you present yourself to others or way others perceive you, it could come off as a little rough. You know, someone might think of you as like, oh, why is he so cold? You know, why, you know, or they get that feeling that you're being cold to them when you may not intentionally be trying to be cold. But that's part of the diamond, that rough diamond nature.
I can get factual, so I can see that. Yeah.
Lacking emotion? Does anyone ever say, are you showing your feelings or are you not having a feeling about a situation?
I tend to have pretty big feelings, but I think sometimes the way I deal with it is, I'm not recognizing other people's emotions, maybe. Or they call me extra or bold or maybe touched. I've been called special. Been called a lot of things. Jazmin. Yeah.
Have you ever been called a diamond?
Not until right now. Yeah.
Wonderful. So the diamonds definitely carry that energy of wanting to identify the value in a relationship. So when we
Yeah.
think about
Okay.
your partnerships, people that you work with, what is it that you're getting from this situation? Not to
Yeah.
say that you have to put a monetary value on it, but it could also be a value of a different nature. You know,
Okay.
whether you're learning something from that person,
Yeah.
whether that person is going to bring you value in terms of your growth and your development, since that's a strong interest for you.
Yeah.
So,
Can I interject?
Sure.
Do you mind? You're reminding me of something I was actually thinking about this morning. I have deep thoughts when I brush my teeth or when I'm in the shower. I think we all do, right? And I was getting ready. I think it was actually this morning. And I was thinking about a discussion I had in episode 2 with Jonathan Peters. And he seeks power. And I don't. I give power away. And he's also into status. And I'm negative on status. So he has to have brand name. Whereas I'm kind of proud of my value purchases at Costco. So for me, it's all about what's the highest quality I can get for the lowest amount of money.
diamond all
It's
day.
all about value for me.
Diamond
So
all
it's just
day.
interesting
Yeah.
that I saw that correlation and I wanted to add in.
Thank you for that.
And then you should go listen to episode 2 if you haven't, because it's really good.
It's on my to-do list and my playlist.
But you're good. No, you're good. I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the listeners.
I'm just letting you know. Okay.
Thank you, Jasmine.
All right. So we have also to talk about the colors. So
Okay,
I started
yeah.
talking about the different suits. And
Okay.
I mentioned to you that the hearts are the youngest. Now
Okay.
the hearts and the diamonds are red. Red is an assertive color. Okay?
Is it?
It is. So when you think about any cards that are red, that red card can tend to be more dominant as the person in the relationship. So if you're thinking
Interesting.
about a partnership or relationship, friendship, the red card tends to be the leading person. And this is at the core. Now, we're just right now talking about the birth card, the card that you're assigned because of the birth date that you have. That red card is your core, your soul is more assertive than maybe what your personality card may come across as. But the only
Interesting.
way we identify your personality card is also by knowing more about your time of birth and place of birth. So we tie in a little bit more astrology in order to identify what is your card, which is called your ascendant. And the ascendant in astrology really helps us to identify how others perceive us.
Okay.
Okay, so the black cards, given that I said that the red cards are assertive, guess what? The black cards are more receptive.
Passive. Yeah, okay.
They're receptive. They receive.
Receptive.
Doesn't
Okay.
necessarily mean that they are passive. I would
Okay, good.
say.
Thanks for correcting me.
It's
Yeah.
okay. I would say that it's more that they are the ones that are going to be there listening, taking in, absorbing information.
Okay.
And they're going to wait to respond. But when they do respond, it's going to be powerful.
Okay.
Okay, so
Got it.
just know that the black cards, if you have a black card in your hand, we're going to talk about your hand here in a second, but if you have any black cards in your hand, those tend to be where you're going to be receptive. You're going to be receiving.
Okay.
So expect to receive information, receive change, or receive, it could be financial, it could be receiving knowledge. So there are different ways in which the black cards could play out.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So they're receiving, and then when they respond, it's powerful. Is that because they're collecting the energy and like storing it?
That's a great word. Collecting. Yes, collecting energy.
Because it goes back to one of the motivators, right? The concept of game mechanics, you want to collect things.
Yes.
It's making me think of that.
Yes, absolutely. It connects. It connects very well with the Reese motivation profile for sure.
Right. And that's why I brought up Dr. Jonathan Peters, just because this is making me think of that. Cool.
Yep, you're on it. You're
Sweet.
on it. All right. So now that we've talked a little bit about your birth card, we talked about where you are in this grand spread, I would like to add that the cards that follow to the left and to the right of you
Okay.
are the cards that are in your hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab a set of cards.
Okay.
And we're going to start here. This is your birth card. And then if we were to go to the left in this direction, we're gonna count out. We're going to start with Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. So these cards are the cards that are in your hand for life.
Oh, wow.
Which means you have a you have a Mercury period of your life. You have a Venus period of your life. And this also ties into numerology because each period is 13 years. So you
Okay.
have a 13-year cycle. So on your first 13 years after you were born, you were in your Mercury state, which is the Four of Spades. And this means you had Four of Spades energy that was influencing you during that time of your life.
Was that when I was young or not necessarily?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
when you were young. So
Yeah.
you were born, say I was born in 1980. So for the first 13 years of my life, I had a certain energy that was present. And so for you, the first 13 years would be the Four of Spades would be present for you.
Very old.
Yes. So the four, by the way, the four happens to represent household protection, security. So whenever you see a four present, four tends to relate to anything that would help you to feel secure.
Wow.
So did you have a pretty stable home life?
Incredibly stable.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a very powerful number four right there.
Just
so
the best parents you could ask for. Went to church all the time, just very supportive, good Christian values, no hypocrisy, no negativity. So really strong in the first 10 years of my life. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So there it is.
Or would that be 13? Would that be the 13?
Yeah, the first 13 years.
First 13.
First
Okay,
13 years.
interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah.
So, and this is again at the base level, not knowing what your ascendant or your personality card is, just knowing at your base.
Okay.
You had a very strong four right here
Okay.
in the first 13 years,
Interesting.
according to the cards. Then if we go to the next 13 years, so 13 and beyond,
Okay.
you had a 10 of hearts. So hearts represent relationships. Hearts represent feelings, meeting people, connections. If you see a heart, you can also think that, I might meet a bunch of people with a 10 big heart, because that means you're going to meet a ton of people. So
Okay.
in the next 13 years of your life, did you do any traveling, or did you get involved with different social groups from 13 to say 26?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously I was going to school. I think moving into middle school, we met a whole lot of more people, right? The population of the school grew by 75%. In that time period, I also had the opportunity to travel to Mexico for a mission trip. I went to Russia for like a choir I was in. So I was doing a lot of traveling. I had a lot of friends and meetings.
Diverse groups too. It sounds
Very
like.
diverse, all over the world. Yeah.
10, Big 10.
That was a Big 10. Yeah. Yeah. And high school was great. I did a lot of theater. I met a lot of people knew me. I didn't know everyone else, but because I was in a lot of shows, I just had a recognizable face, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. I get
Yeah.
that sometimes too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we got the 10 of hearts, which is in the Venus position, which would make sense.
Okay.
10 of hearts being big, relationships, expansion, growth, because you're still in the, if we think about it, you're still in the Jupiter row.
Okay.
So expansion, big relationships.
Okay.
The 10 of diamonds. So this would be Mercury, Venus, Mars. So, Mars.
Planet of War?
Yeah. Action, activity, work. So you don't have to think of it as war as in conflict. You can think of it as, I'm going to do some hard work. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to put forth a lot of effort. I'm going to use a lot of energy. It doesn't necessarily have to mean conflict, but there's
Okay.
going to be a lot of energy involved with that, with Mars.
So 13 and 13 would be 26.
Yep.
So I would have been 26 years old.
Yep.
I quit my job at a hotel and I moved to Thailand, and I started a whole new career teaching. It took a lot of energy. I was terrified.
Yes, absolutely. So now the 10 of diamonds
Okay.
being in Mars, 10 diamonds. We did talk about diamonds being rough,
Yeah.
being hard,
Yeah.
also requiring a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Maybe you were rough around the edges. It sounds like you were rough.
It was
on
ragged. It was just kind of a working holiday. It was like I was acting like I was still in college for 7 years. I just traveled around all of Southeast Asia. I drove a motorcycle accidents, scuba diving accidents, Lots of crazy stuff. Drinking a lot. All the things.
Wow, you put your body through a lot. So,
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I probably should be dead.
Oh, wow. Well, you got a lot of lessons to learn from that time,
I made it
you
through.
know?
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
kicking.
Yes. So I would also add, this could also mean savings. So were you saving around that time, seeing as how you were in a different country? Were you saving any money or doing any like financial, trying to protect yourself at all at that time?
It's interesting because the roles all changed. In other words, by Western standards, I was way below the poverty level, but by Thai standards, I was making good money. So while I was in Thailand, I was wealthy. I had a 2-story house downtown, big 250cc motorcycle. I was the bomb.com. but it was interesting because if you leave Thailand, then nothing. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, well, it's perspective. It's like,
Yeah.
well, where were you? Well, you were in the Jupiter. This is the Jupiter position. So that's pretty powerful. All right. So we just talked about the 10 of diamonds.
Correct.
I'm going to bring you over to the 8 of spades.
Okay.
So as we recap here, we had Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter. So you have an 8 of spades in Jupiter. Now, spades being one of the more very old, one of the more mature cards. They have all the energies of the prior cards in them.
Okay.
Also, it's an 8, and 8 is the symbol of infinity.
Okay.
So we have hard work. This is a card that would represent to me hard work and rewards. So the return on whatever you're investing is coming out of this right here.
Okay.
So this would have been, if we're thinking about age range, so this was 13 to 26, this was 26 to 39, and so this would mean this is where you are right now in your 13-year cycle. You're in the 8 of spades period.
Okay.
Yeah.
I completed the party in Thailand.
Yes.
And then I moved back to the United States
Yes.
to raise a family.
Yes.
And the children are doing very well in school. I have less time for myself. Everything's for them now. I'm building equity. I bought a house, fixed it up, doubled the appraisal, moved to this house. I'm building equity in this house. So really, building out my real estate portfolio by hand.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations. Your hard work is paying off.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Awesome.
And
so what is the infinite? How does that, that's exciting me. And I just want to, is that like exponential? Like,
the 8, if you just think about the completion. So this is when
got it.
Yeah. So even though it is infinite, it's connected and it's fully completed. So the 6 is open.
Okay.
And you think about 7s being open and also 9s being open.
Okay.
The 8 is a completion. So
Oh, interesting. You're making me think of a long meandering blog post I did on Improvement Dave called Closing the Loop last year, where I was just writing about if you start something, finish it.
Yes.
See it through. Even if it's a failure, at least you did the thing.
Absolutely.
And you didn't just start halfway.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
fantastic.
So I could see also a lot of completions coming for you in that 8 of spades.
I love that.
Yes. So when we think ahead, so you're going to have more cycles throughout the rest of your life. After the Jupiter period, which you're in now, you would move into Saturn. Saturn would be the Ace of Hearts.
So I'm going to look very young. Is that right?
Yes.
I'm not going to lose all my hair.
There
That's
you go.
awesome.
That youthful energy,
Yeah.
new beginnings.
I hope so. Yeah, my kids will
anytime-
be teenagers. I hope I'm still, all right.
Absolutely. So anytime you see an ace, think new beginnings.
Yeah,
new beginnings. It could be new relationships. It could be new life. Expecting another child. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't want to get into the details, but that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
No,
Okay.
That's not in my cards.
Well, who knows? No,
I mean, do you believe in miracles?
Well, there's always adoption and fostering.
Or maybe we'll get a pet.
You never know.
A fur baby.
There we go.
You never know.
There we go. So you got the Ace of Hearts, new beginnings, new energy, followed by the Ace of Diamonds. So if this is in We said Jupiter, Saturn, and then this would be Uranus. Uranus is the planet of things that make us unique. So if you think about that, you and Uranus, you is about what makes you unique, what makes you special, what you bring. So if you have an ace of diamonds, that's new money, new values, new ways of learning. This definitely could be a new beginning of value, a new beginning of some financial venture. Something new in terms of values and financials, whatever's coming to you.
Interesting.
And then we would hop over to the Queen of Diamonds, and that would be your Neptune. So Neptune is nearing the end of what we have in our 13-year cycles. So you think about it, by the time you get to Neptune, you're going to be probably in your 80s or 90s. And Neptune is also, when we think about it from the planetary perspective, how far away it is from the sun, some people like to think of Neptune as in the ethers. So things that you would dream about, things that you would, usually with the planet Neptune, it could also involve alcohol, drugs, or other behaviors that you want to elevate your mind or elevate your senses. And so any card that falls in Neptune has a tendency or could be perpetuated to want to go to that dream state more often.
Or maybe could it be more even like a spiritual journey?
Yeah.
Like prayer, meditation,
Absolutely.
wanting to get to that spiritual realm. I mean, just curious.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it doesn't necessarily have to involve alcohol or drugs. But
that's why I asked.
As you said, just trying to get to that spiritual state or that heightened state.
Yes.
That dream-like state.
Nice.
So the Queen of Diamonds, the Queen of finances, the Queen of values, she carries a lot of respect and a lot of strong posture, and she's very well respected. So that having that card in the position of the Neptune, maybe that could be a dream state for you, as being very well respected for your values. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that, but as I said, that's where the card sits in your planetary periods.
Cool.
So that's the 13 years. We talked about that. We could also break this down into the card cycles throughout the year.
Okay.
So there are different breakdowns in terms of how much time you spend in a planetary cycle from year to year.
Okay.
So 52 days. So 52 days from your birthday, if you keep counting, the first 52 days after your birthday, that is your Mercury period. And 52 days after that is your Venus period. So the planets influence us not just from a long range cycle when we talk about the 13 years, but also every 52 days we're getting a different influence, different planetary energy that's influencing us.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So with that said, these are the cards that are in your hand that you have that could also show up in your life. So oftentimes what we find, it's interesting that you brought up that since we met, all these other people have come into place.
Right.
If we were to find out what their birth dates were, I would be willing to bet that they're in proximity to you in some way or in some nature. So they could be one of the cards that is in your hand, or they could be a card that's very close to you on this spread.
Wow.
Yes. Would you like to know how you and I relate in terms of the cards?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
So where are you at? Or how do we do this? I'm sorry. You're the master. I'll just wait.
Well, it just so happens that you are a 6 of diamonds, and I'm a 7 of diamonds.
Are you serious?
Serious.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm definitely like your big sister, okay?
And we were born in the same year.
And we were born in the same year.
That's awesome. Okay.
For sure. So, with that said, there are things that you possibly could learn from me, and there's also things that I have to teach to you based on my position on when I was born. Okay. Now, how we relate to each other also is impacted and influenced by our ascendant cards. So
Okay.
without knowing what your ascendant card is, I'd be willing to bet that your ascendant card is probably somewhere in my spread, which
Okay.
means that we have some common energies that help us to relate to each other.
Okay.
And we're not that far away. So when we think about the placement of the cards on the spread, you're a 6 of diamonds here, and I'm a 7 of diamonds here.
Okay.
So I'm only about 2 cards away from you diagonally, if we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Now, if my card was a 3 of diamonds and you were a 6 of diamonds, then we're not so close in proximity.
Okay.
It may be harder for us to get to know each other.
Oh, okay.
I will add one other thing about this map. There are some cards on this map that are considered fixed cards.
Okay.
And there are semi-fixed cards, and which means that as we shift the cards each year, each cycle, this order changes. What we're seeing is one spread, but if I were to take and do another shuffle of these cards, the position of where your 6 of diamonds is sitting every 13 years is different on this spread.
Okay.
You're a card that's going to rotate. In the opposite, I'm a card that will not rotate. I happen to be a card that is a semi-fixed card.
Okay,
and
semi-fixed card.
Semi-fixed, which
Okay.
means I only rotate between 1 or 2 positions in any given year.
Okay.
I'm either here or I'm here. This is my karmic twin right here. So the
wow.
9 of hearts. If we were to go back to that soul spread that we looked at first, that perfect order, the 7 of diamonds was here, and the 9 of hearts was here.
So that's where your soul lives, in the Knight of
Yes,
Hearts.
right here. So
Okay.
this means that I only change positions between these 2 cards at any given time. I'm either here or here. And regardless, I'm close to you, no
Yeah.
matter where I am.
There's a triangle there.
Yeah, look at
And
that.
do you
Ooh.
know that? So you know that because of that placement. Mm-hmm. So where was the 6 of diamonds before?
The 6 of diamonds before was right next to me. So if this
Okay.
was the 7, the 6 was right here.
Well, sure. Okay, got you. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. So you were really right next to me
Right.
On the soul spread.
The soul spread. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Now, I'll give you one last tip about me.
Okay.
And that is that because I'm aware of my time of birth, I was able to identify my personality card and my ascendant card.
Mm-hmm.
And my ascendant card happens to be a fixed card. This is the Jack of Hearts right here in the middle.
Okay.
So the Jack of Hearts sits in the Jupiter-Venus position. So that means big love, big sacrifice, big care for others. Sometimes, if we want to talk about it on the lower side, self-sabotaging. So I will sacrifice things about myself or for myself for others so that others can benefit or others can feel more comfortable. So this is the ascendant or the personality card. So oftentimes people will come to me and ask me for things or take my time and share a lot of things about themselves. And I happen to receive all that. Even though it's a red card, they see me as someone who's willing to give them my time. So in some ways I'm still giving, I'm still asserting.
Yeah.
But I'm also receiving all this energy from others.
Look, you just traveled from the northeast coast to the center of the United States, St. Louis, just to read my cards. So, yeah, I mean, I see that.
Yeah.
I see that on you.
Yes.
Yeah, I see that in you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the Jack of Hearts is a fixed card.
Uh-huh.
The King of Spades is a fixed card.
Okay.
The Eight of
okay, yeah.
the Eight of Clubs is a fixed card. And there's probably another one I'm forgetting, which, lack of my experience will show that I know a few of them, but I don't know them all right
You're
off the
fine.
top of my head.
No, not at all. No,
But just
this
know
is amazing.
that if we were to flip between this spread and the grand solar spread that was the perfect order, then we would see the cards that were in the exact same placement as they were on the soul spread as they are on the real spread. The real
right.
world spread.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I didn't find out the time of birth. I even found my birth certificate, and it didn't list when I was born.
That's
I
very
meant to
common.
ask my
That's very
mom,
common.
but I honestly don't think she will remember. But
It's
I
quite
should
all right.
have.
If
Yeah,
there's
I should
ever
have.
if you're ever curious, there are some really great astrologers out there that can use certain techniques to help you identify that. I've learned so much over the past year.
Wow.
That I didn't know that there's certain traits that you might have, like even the size of your forehead can help indicate
Oh, wow.
can help indicate what ascendant astrology sign you might be, or if you have a scar on your right hand and a certain
my gosh.
yeah. So I mean, those are kind of the quirky things that I don't have the expertise to share, but I will say that those really expert astrologers out there can help you identify your ascendant.
Awesome.
If you ever want to go down
I'm sure
that
I
path.
could just like call the hospital or, maybe bother to ask my mom
Or-
instead of,
Possibly, maybe. I mean, if you really want to make a trip to Jefferson City, you can go there and get the official time card record, because it is there somewhere, I've been told.
Okay.
So I think the state of Missouri might even have some type of record that you can retrieve that has that level of detail.
I wish I would have done that now. Yeah, it's all
The
good.
things you learn,
It's perpetual learning. That's my life.
That's
yeah.
right. That's right. That's right. All right. Any questions that you have?
So I guess my question is, does this go any further, or is it just these 2 spreads and now we've seen the whole picture, or is there more to it?
Oh, there is so much more.
Okay.
This is really just very, very, very lightly scratching the surface.
Okay.
So you've seen the 2 spreads.
I've seen the 2 spreads.
I've shared a little bit with you about the planetary placement and where your cards are that are in your hand.
Okay.
Then also, as I said, this spread particularly will rotate and change every year, every 13 years.
Okay.
And you can identify what cycle you really are, where you are. Where are you at right now on the map? This might be where you are, where you were at age 0, if there is such a thing. But right now, at your current age, that's not where your 6 of diamonds is. There's also something interesting to add, is that based on there are certain years in which we go through what we call a pre-birth or a rebirth.
Okay.
And I'm actually in my pre-birth year right now, and I'm entering my rebirth year. And that's at age 45. So I'll be 45 in September. And when I turn 45, this is the year of rebirth for me. So if you think about it, I'm resetting. I'm resetting to 0. I'm resetting to the order of my cards when I was first born.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So then there's also other significant years. There are a lot of books, a lot of literature out there, a lot of individuals who have contributed to the sharing the art and the science of the cards. They're called the Magi's, the Magi's of the cards. Wow. So I have a friend of mine who is a Magi of the cards. And as I said, she started her own school because she really wanted people to have access to this information to help them in their own growth and development, and also helping you with communicating and relating with others.
Sure.
Okay. So she studied with some of the most well-known Magi's of the cards in the world. And you can find, like I said, a lot of books out there, some that will even help you to chart your path, your life path with the cards, and also help you to plan relationships, maybe the best period in life to seek marriage or other relationships or business partnerships. And I would even add that not only, of course, literature is great. I like going to a book because I like to hold it.
Yes.
But if you're a person that likes apps, there's apps out there too that can help you to put your date of birth in the app system, and it'll tell you what cards you have for your current cycle.
Okay. Well, that's helpful, right? Because some people don't have the time to create an entire podcast about how this works.
Oh, yeah.
Some people don't even have time to read a book.
Right.
So there's a spectrum of things.
There is. So you can just go to an app.
I love it.
Or go to Spade University's website.
University's website.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Spade University's website. And then you can put your date of birth in there, and it'll help you get some information about you.
Awesome. I'd like to add also that if someone's listening to this and they want to see the visuals, there will be live video of this on YouTube. Also, if you access this podcast through the Spotify app, there will be video there as well. And then if you go to gamelayer.fm and find this episode, there'll be some images uploaded as well. Just wanted to put that in there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Anything else, Jazmin, about how this all works?
Oh, I could go on and on and on and on.
I love it.
But I would say that, the most enlightening thing for me is that once you start to recognize the card energies, then you also can start to communicate better with others. So I noticed that someone who craves knowledge, someone who you see tends to sit back and receive and maybe think about things longer than maybe what you naturally do. They tend to be in the club energy area. Clubs are about knowledge. So so even though they're kind of in that learning state, if you think about juveniles and teens and adolescents, they are really in the state of learning about themselves,
right? Trying new things.
So clubs, I noticed that when I engage with others and I see that they need time to think, or someone says, hey, they don't seem like they want to be a contributor in a meeting because they're sitting back. It may not be that they are not engaged. It may be that they're a club and they just need time to process and absorb the information and then come back to you with a response. So, I know that there's other training and information out there about communication styles and preferences. It all aligns, I was
just going to say that. You read my mind. This is a quadrant. And so it easily fits into the communication styles with the 4 colors. Even I think some of the 360 stuff, some of the disc stuff, it's all coming to the surface where it's like, well, this is a manifestation of that. And maybe whichever came first, they borrowed from each other or whatnot.
Well,
right?
this has been around for a long, long time.
Right, that's what I would assume.
Grounded even early Egyptian culture.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, really a long time. And so I don't really know the full origins of the cards, but there are, as I said, some literature out there that can help point you to some of the history.
I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I honestly thought that these were playing cards, and that this was always done with tarot cards or tarot cards, however you say that. So it's interesting to hear that this is so ancient and that this potentially came before the card games.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
That's
100%.
interesting.
Absolutely. And I would even add, you can even get down to how the bicycle playing deck is the layout that the cards have been for centuries.
Okay.
And some of the artwork that's used in the cards will point back to the card energy. Like if you take note that
some of the jacks only have one eye.
They only have one eye.
Right.
Yeah, the one-eye jack, like the heart.
Right.
Then there's also the jack of spades that has one eye.
Okay.
And how they're facing, the orientation of the face. If you notice that the king is facing away from the spade in that card. And that's the only king that is facing away from that card, because he's looking out over all of his people. He is the big guy, the big
watching
king,
all
the
the
king
other
of spades.
kings.
He is.
Yeah.
He's watching everybody else. So
okay.
So you can get as far as like the orientation and the layout of the cards, where the numbers are placed. Like the 7 is a 5 and a 2. If you look at how the
it is
the
orientation of the hearts.
Yeah,
the 2s are upside
orientation of
down,
the
and
shapes,
I never noticed any of
2
that.
and a 5. Yep.
What? And the 9 is 2 sets of 4s and a 1.
There it is.
Wow. Interesting.
Yes. So
I'm never going to unsee that.
You won't.
I'll have that for the rest of my life.
You won't. And so one thing that we learn about in our classes when we go for this certification is that the idea is to find out what is it that the individual wants to get out of the reading. We don't just sit down and just say, hey, we're going to read your cards. Yeah. So we have to go into the conversation with a goal in mind, Yeah. So is the goal just because you're curious and you want to learn more about the card system? Is the goal because you have a crisis, or you have something going on in your life that's bothering you? Or is the goal that, you're looking for change? You're looking for something to help you to pivot to your next adventure, your next stage in your life. What kind of information are you seeking? So we can then craft the reading and focus on the card energies that relate to the subject that you want to learn about.
That's why I tried to just speak what's resonating with me, and really just I maybe like a communicator would, right? Just like speak my feelings throughout this process. That was my intention, was just to be very open to this and communicate with you what you said resonated with me. Because I think I do see this as the way this works is, like you said, you're going to tell me what I already know, right? And I think there's a lot of power in that statement. I like how you introduced this whole idea with that. I even think back to maybe the Pee Wee Herman movie, right? Where he goes and this lady, she's obviously a hack. She probably didn't get certified at your school, right? But she reads in the crystal ball and just, looks at signs out the door, all the classic, fake sorcerer stuff. But he still makes it to the Alamo, and he still goes to find the basement that doesn't exist in the Alamo, and he still finds his bike. So, it's like it's about having faith above anything else, and it's like people are going to throw garbage at you, and it's all about what you do with it. But I don't see this as any form of garbage. This is very interesting. And a lot of the power is my willingness to believe. Yeah, it's faith-based.
It is.
Yeah.
And 7 is the card of faith. So card of faith and spirituality.
Okay.
So
I'm close to it.
You are.
You're a little bit closer because you're right on the nose.
Yes. So just seeking that spiritual understanding, is part of that 7 energy. So, and who knows, you might have a 7 in somewhere else in your layout that I can't see based on what we're looking at right now. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I still have a question. So you said that the 6 of diamonds can kind of still come back into my life. So for example, I guess I'm in the 8 right now, the 8 of spades. Would that mean that these cards are all kind of moving around throughout the year? And then I could come back into my spiritual self, then I would become like the 6 of diamonds for that week?
No. Well,
is that how it works?
Not exactly.
That's the image I got. So I wanted to play it back to you.
So to clarify, at your core, you are always the 6 of spades.
So I am the 6
of
through diamonds moving through time.
Yes.
Okay.
You're at your core. You're always going to be the 6 of diamonds.
Okay.
How you allow your 6 of diamonds to express itself is part of what you have in your control. Okay. And I will use some of the terminology that my mentor, she uses. And that is, you can think about when you think about it in terms of game terminology, you can think about the 6 of spades as your operator. Okay. And your avatar is your personality card that's running around out here in the world and trying to do stuff, trying to break stuff, trying to play. All right. Your avatar's out here. It's your skin that you're wearing that people see, how they perceive you, how they receive you. We don't know what that is yet. So we're going to find out at some point. That's going to be my mission. To find out what your avatar, what's that personality card out here that's running around the world that you're trying to control as your operator. So at the core, your 6 of diamonds is the operator. And you're out here, you're the operator in the background with the controller, trying to move things around. But the thing that's inhibiting you or also helping you is your avatar. So your avatar has a set of cards in its hand, and that's those cards that we talked about here. So the power of the 8, the lessons that you learned from the 10, the relationships you built from the 10 of hearts. All of that are like your, when you think about a character in a game and you think about all the accessories and all the things that it has behind
the attributes.
The attributes. Yes, that's the word. When you think about all the attributes or your persona even. All those things that go into that player, that's where your cards, that's where all those cards I just talked about sit.
So the 6 of diamonds is me, Dave. And then the avatar would be me controlling Mario on the screen.
Yes.
So there's Dave.
Mario on the screen is the avatar.
That's the avatar. And then I think in another episode, I talked to Jonathan Peters about wearing a mask, about when I'm taking the motivation profile, maybe I'm lying to myself about who I really am. And so it's like, I have a lot of power. I even seek power, but I'm not comfortable with expressing that in the real world. So I wear a mask to cover that up. Because I don't want to be that white dude out there, capitalizing on his white power. That's just not who I want to be. But that doesn't mean I don't have power.
Correct.
It means that I don't want you to see me having power. You with me?
I am. I am. So that sounds like you are empowering your avatar to really be in the driver's seat. So
interesting.
Yeah. So when we think about who's really driving the car, is it the operator or is it the avatar driving?
I like
so
that.
Do you want to be the one driving?
I do.
Or are you going to pass the steering wheel over to the avatar and let them just wreck shit.
Mario's a psycho. No way. That guy's crazy. You see what he does?
Yeah.
He's scary.
I want to wreck it. No, that's Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph. Right. Yeah, this is interesting, and this is good. This is good stuff because it has that duality where there is the person you really are, and then the person who people perceive you as, right? Which is that avatar. It's really interesting.
And we have the if we are self-aware, we have the possibility to keep the controls.
Okay.
We can keep the controls, and we know when we want to let the avatar really be the more dominating force or the more dominant appearing force in a conversation. But having that knowledge is almost like you know that you gave the avatar control, so you're really still in control.
Yeah. That's deep. That's deep.
It's like, I know I gave you control, so hey, guess what? Go ahead and play.
Well, people have even pulled me aside and said, David, why don't you be more assertive? Why don't you seize your power? People have asked me to do that.
That's that diamond. They know that you're a diamond.
They know that I'm there. Yeah. I think for me, I don't want to say it's fear, because it's not fear. It's I feel uncomfortable that I'm taking something away from someone else, I think. So I need to work through that. I'll get some therapy. You don't need to be my therapist, but I'm taking all the help I can get right now.
Sounds like a little bit of self-sacrifice, which to me
it is.
It screams heart tendencies. So I'm curious that I'm not trying to be a fortune teller for sure, but I don't know. I'm be very curious if your avatar would be a heart of some kind. So maybe
you'll find that if I know my birth time.
If you know your birth time,
we'll have a follow-up session.
We should.
That would be good. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, the unveiling.
Yeah, the next season. Yeah, and the next season.
Like the gender reveal party. It's the avatar reveal. Oh.
Yeah, I'm Dave. Yeah,
I'm a diamond and I'm also a heart.
Yeah, could be. You never know.
Could be. Could be.
I love it. It's so much deeper than I had anticipated. I'm just going to be honest. There's a lot more going on here than I had. I just thought we're going to lay out some cards and you were going to say, oh, this is what came up this time. No, this is a map.
It is.
Yeah,
it is a map to life. It really is. And when you really start to study it and you start to understand or pick up on what those card energies are from others, and you know where they are in the spread, you can also say, oh, I know why that person seems distant to me, or I'm not able to establish a strong connection with them, because they could be at the total opposite side of the spread. Or they could be far away from you in that year or in that period based on where your card is at any given moment.
That's awesome.
Thankfully for me, I only have to worry about 2 positions. And then one, when I think about my personality card or my avatar card, it's always here. The Jack of Hearts is always right there.
It's always fixed.
Always fixed, yep.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe my personality card moves around. That's possible, right?
Yeah, that's very possible. You could have a personality card and a birth card that both move around.
Okay.
So, yeah. And that comes with some more expertise, as I said. The experts in the field, they really, my friend, I really speak very highly of her, because she could sit down and she could tell you, oh, you know what, you would be blah 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 based on where you are sitting. She really could work out the details just by having this short conversation with you.
That's fantastic. Wow.
How people say they know your card by the back of their hand. That's
fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Jazmin. I really have appreciated this. This has been great.
Thank you.
I would like to ask you a question.
Sure.
Other than a cat or dog, what is your favorite animal?
Oh, a gecko.
A gecko? You have a gecko.
I do.
What's his name?
Lenny.
Lenny, that's right.
Yeah.
Lenny the gecko.
Lenny the gecko.
Why do you love geckos so much?
Because they're just so peaceful, and they're very calm, unless you agitate them. So, Lenny, he's really laid back.
He's chill.
Very chill. And he observes. So
Okay.
he's like a
club?
He's a club. He's definitely very receptive. And I know what his birth date is. I probably can figure out his card. He was born, I think, August 22nd of 2019. So now I got to go and do some math. There's some math involved with that, but I could identify what his card is based on those numbers.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Lenny is definitely very chill. He's very low maintenance.
Yeah.
You know, he likes a simple diet, you know, some crickets and worms and roaches from time to time, you know.
Yeah.
So go to the pet store.
I hear it.
Food's cheap.
Yeah.
You know, I like that because I'm a diamond and pretty thrifty, you know.
You're thrifty also. Yeah. My Aldi friend.
Yeah. So, you know, I like a good bargain. So.
Yeah. Preaching to the choir right here. You have to tell me twice. So, while I have you, what are games, Jazmin, and why do we love them?
Games. Games help us to connect with others in a social setting. Games help us to stimulate our mind, our sense of creativity, our energy. I really see games as a way to connect with other people.
Okay. I love that. So that's why you love them, right?
I
It's
do.
that social element.
It is. It
Okay.
is the social element. Now, I would also say I have a very competitive spirit.
Okay.
So I enjoy the competition. Not so much that it's a competition with someone else. It's a competition with myself. I like to push myself to the
Okay.
edge, and that comes with that diamond. You know,
Okay.
diamonds are formed because of pressure.
Yeah.
So I put
Yeah.
pressure on myself
Yeah.
quite often, and
Yeah.
I have very high expectations of myself. So
Tell me about
you
it.
know, so when
Yeah.
I go to play a game, whether it's a game that's like solitaire, it's just you.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to make a faster time. It's like,
Okay.
oh, I can do this. I did it in 1 minute and 27 seconds. I'm going to beat that time the next time I play this game. So I'm always thinking about the challenge. How
Yeah.
can I be better?
I got some feedback recently from our mutual friend and acquaintance, Betty Danowitz. And she said, David, can I give you some feedback out of love? I was like, yeah, sure, Betty. She said, David, you always make things way more difficult than they have to be. And that kind of stung, right? Feedback stings, but it helped me grow. And I've been thinking more about it. And I think it's that artistic process. I don't make this show because I really even want to. I make it because I have to. Every stage in my life, I've been making something. I mentioned the music, right? Before that, it was crazy little videos on a VHS recorder. Paintings. I'm always creating. And if I don't create, I lose my marbles. That's part of that making things more difficult for me. I have to do something. I have to be creating.
Absolutely. And that, like you said, that's a way of creation. That's a way of expression.
Yep.
That's a way you communicate, and that probably
Interesting.
will show up somehow in the way your cards are for you. So
Okay. This has been fantastic. Thank you, Jazmin. How can someone reach out to you? How can they find you if they want?
please connect with me on LinkedIn. Absolutely. That's the best place to find me.
I love it. All right. Well, you heard it straight from the Jazmin's mouth. This has been the what is it? The lay of cards, the map of cards,
The spread.
the spread.
The life spread.
It was right there in front of me.
Yeah.
It was right in front of me. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate it. I can't thank you enough.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure. Thank you, David.
Likewise. Thank you, Jazmin.
Take care.
Cheers. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Game Layer. This is David Kolmer reminding you to stay present and never postpone joy. You can find transcripts of the show at gamelayer.fm. GAMELAYER.fm. Theme music by Caleb Willits. Thanks for listening. Now go, play.
I play chess.
I play Scrabble.
I play fauteuil. I play everything.
Hide and seek with my kids.
I play the piano.
I play board games.
I play guitar.
I smash it on the pitch.
I play chess.
I play Othello.
I play all the Marios.
I play Success Strategist.
I play Street Fighter.
Final Fantasy.
I play games of my own invention. Games of my own invention. Games of my own invention. Games of my own invention.
There are many ways to play. Going for a walk together, doing nothing together is also playing. Anything that can cultivate your feeling of joy, relaxation, where you feel more recharged after doing that thing, and I think you can consider as something that we play with. I'd like to move to the domain of play